Okay, so I just finished recording the digital, like what you would do on the computer. One of the things that I forgot when I was talking about materials is if you want your, and this is another preference thing because I found that some of the molds that I sand down still come out with the 3D printed lines. That doesn't really make a significant difference sometimes. Sometimes yeah, it makes all the difference, and sometimes it's not. I don't feel like it's enough of a difference to waste my time sanding, or like I feel like I wasted my time sanding it. But if you want to be sure, what I do is I take like a P320, and if you know about sanding, you know that like the lower the number, the higher the grit. So, sorry, so the lower your number, like the more like abrasive it is. So like this is like the P600, it's like kind of almost smooth. But I'll take like the P320 and I'll like sand it down a little bit, and then I'll spray it with a Krylon Automotive 2-in-1 filler primer, I think is what it's called. It's like a gray, it has a gray top on it. I found it in like the spray paint area at Walmart. I don't think I have any right now. I wasn't planning on sanding these anyway. Like I said, that's just a preference thing, but if that's something you want to do, I'm sure you know how to sand stuff. You'll just take your sandpaper. I like to use the lower number grit first, and I'll sand it down, try to get it as like a little bit semi-smooth, and then I'll spray it. Like this one looks like it might be kind of bad, but we're gonna see. And then I'll spray it with the spray paint, and then I'll sand it down with a smaller grit, or the higher number. I think the smaller grit, the less abrasive. So what I do is, it's gonna get loud right now because I'm gonna use my air duster, is I'll just spray my air duster onto my molds just to kind of get any dust or anything in there out. So I'm gonna do that one. I'm gonna do these two for sure. I'm not totally sure about the shamrock yet. We'll see. So I'm gonna put that one off to the side. I might not even have enough silicone to do the shamrock. So I totally skipped like the loading the stuff on my 3D printer, but that's like a whole thing on its own. Make sure your bed's leveled. I use my adhesion layer to kind of, I don't have to level my bed as much, or I feel like I don't have to anyway. Also, I don't know if you can tell on this 3D printer, I have like not paint, I have tape on the bed. It's just like a cheap Pinterest tape. It's kind of like a hack that I saw in a group. I don't know necessarily that it works. But I feel like my stuff adheres a little bit better when I have it. You just have to make sure your bed's hot when you put it on, and then it'll kind of stick, and then your object will print, and then you have to heat it back up to get it off, because once it gets cool, it's like stuck on there pretty good. Don't mess up your bed trying to get it off. Heat the tape back up and pull it off. So once I have it air dusted, and if I wanted to sand it once it's sanded, the next step that I would do is I would take my Gorilla Tape. I'm going to lay this flat upside down. Actually, I'm not even going to lay it upside down. I'm going to keep it right side up. And I'm going to take maybe, so you kind of want to, let's see if you can see down here in the very bottom what I'm doing. You kind of want to see how many layers of tape it's going to take. So it's like 1, 2, about 3. What you could do too though is lay it upside down. I'm just going to show you how this way. Let's see. Hopefully my thing doesn't fall over. Okay, so I'm gonna lay it flat down, right? And I can already tell it's kind of like different. But I'm gonna take my tape, see how thick I need it. Don't need your teeth, but and then you're going to put your tape on. And this is why, one of the reasons why I say it's not really conducive to trying to like supply a lot of people, because this is like super time consuming, this part. And you want to try to get them to where they're just touching, not overlapping. Because yeah, when you do the one pieces with the other stuff, you can use them like over and over and over and over, but with the PLA, I found that it's kind of hard to get like multiple out of it. So the whole back is covered. I just like to turn it back over and just push it down. Push the whole little wall part in. Push the Freshie part in. Make sure it's very adhered, right? And you can just look on the back and make sure that you can kind of see basically the image of what you have there. So the outline. And then I just kind of tuck it up. You can cut the extra parts off if you want. Just depends how much of a perfectionist you are or not. But yeah, you really want to make sure that it's just really good on there, because you're not going to put any hot glue or anything to keep the silicone in. So basically the tape is what keeps your silicone in, okay? So now we're going to do the same thing for this peep mold. I'm going to turn it over on its backside. I'm going to turn it over upside down. Jesus Christ. I'm about to need more of this Gorilla Tape. And so I can cut about right there. Yeah, see, I might barely have just enough, just because of all that. That's kind of like a waste of a lot of tape right there. Hopefully this is enough. I think that might work. I'm just gonna take this. So yeah, I don't have enough tape to do my shamrock. I've never tried any other kind of tape, but I'm sure like maybe duct tape. I have some T-Rex tape. I don't even know if that's... I don't know if I could use that. I probably could. But I just... It's kind of like when you know something works, why try something else, right? So yeah, just tuck that up. So now I have both of these pieces taped. What I'm gonna do next is I'm going to spray them with my mold release spray, but I guess I can do it here and just do it on top of some parchment paper. So let's put them side by side. The mold release spray is like super like messy, so, or sticky. See how there's like a little bit of hair and stuff on here? I have a dog, so let's get all of that out. And I kind of feel like the mold release spray helps to like fill in some of the spots. I don't know, we're gonna see. I kind of feel like maybe I should have sanded them, but we'll see how it comes out. Either way, I'll probably use a lot of glitter on this rose, so you won't be able to see that I need sanding. And I'll probably end up using glitter. If it needed to be sanded, just throw some glitter on it, y'all. we're crafters, you make do with what you have, right? So you're just gonna spray your silicone spray, not like a whole lot, because I've sprayed a lot to where like it changed the consistency of my silicone. That was kind of a lot. We're gonna let that kind of dry a little bit because that's a lot of smooth release spray. Maybe I can dry it out a bit. Anyway, you want to make sure that you get it very much in the dip, because you want, especially when you're doing the two-piece, because you want to be able to slide it off. So now I'm going to, geez, I really should have done that outside. And my drink, it doesn't have a lid on it. Anyway, so we're gonna move that to the side for now, because now I'm gonna mix my silicone. And I should have my scale somewhere here. You're gonna need a scale. If you make Freshies, you already have one. Okay, of course, when you need stuff, it's like under stuff, right? So I've kind of found that about 3 ounces is typically good for every mold, or at least the sizes that I do. And that's 3 total ounces, right? So remember that, I don't think I mentioned it, but whenever you use Moldstar 30, Smooth On Moldstar 30, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So however much you put of part A, you put the same amount of part B. So say you need 3 ounces, or you think you're gonna need 3 ounces, you would put 1.5 ounces of part A and 1.5 ounces of part B. So like I said, I typically do about 3 ounces per mold. So right now I have 2, but my peep's kind of small. So but my flower's kind of large. So I'm gonna start with 5 ounces and go from there. So I would need 2.5 of part A. And my scale's kind of janky, it'll like turn off if I don't move it after a certain amount of time. So 2.5 of part A. And with this one, say you wanted to like add glitter or something, it's a really dark blue. So adding glitter is kind of, again, it's a preference thing. So if you wanted to do that, I would add it in with the white before you add it in that dark blue. So like whenever I dyed my other ones, I would add my mica into this white part before I added in the dark blue. So right now I'm at 2.47. I thought that was gonna be good. .49 and close enough, 2.5. And then again, I'm gonna lift it, put it back down, because my scale's kind of like janky. So then I'm gonna take my part B and I'm gonna add in 2.5 of that, or I'm just gonna keep going until I get to 5. This is kind of a lot of silicone. I feel like this might have been too much. Okay, until I get to 5. And see, this is why this is why mold makers, or this is why molds are expensive, because it is a lot of trial and error, and it is, it takes a lot of time to get your stuff consistent. Like my molds I'd say that they're still very inconsistent. Okay. So I've got equal parts in this cup. Now I'm gonna take my popsicle stick, and I'm going to mix this until it's all uniform. And that takes about 2 minutes, so go ahead and skip if you don't want to watch the process of mix. I'm literally just mixing. Just make sure you scrape the sides, you scrape the bottom. I usually like do a scrape and then I'll kind of let it run down like this. And again, this is very small batch, right? So I know you've seen videos of some people where they mix like a whole bunch of silicone at a time. Obviously, I don't need to do that because I'm not making that many molds. This is probably too much silicone for the amounts of molds that I'm making right now. We'll see. I haven't found anything to do with silicone that was like I measured too much. So if you have any tips or any insight, let me know in the comments. Ew, I feel like an influencer or something. Let me know in the comments. I almost feel like the silicone might have set too long without me using it because it's almost got a weird consistency. But I feel like I say that every time. I'm just paranoid. So yeah, we'll do like some mixing. And so like, let's see. You can see that there's still like a little bit of white on the bottom. Okay, so what I do before I pour is I'll kind of like let it sit for a little bit because I can see there's a bunch of bubbles in there. So I'll let it sit for like a minute and kind of, even though it is like self-gassing, I'll just let it sit for like a bit. I am a little worried that there's too much mold release spray on here. We'll find out. So one of the things, or like the thing that I've seen with people who make molds, is they do what they call the Geronimo effect. And what they do is they hold their cup up really high. So I'm gonna hold the cup out of frame, and they let the string, and it kind of like pops the bubbles as it goes. You just hold it in one spot. It hurts your arm really bad, especially if you're out of shape like me. You just hold it in one spot and let the silicone kind of move where it's going to go. If you feel like you're about to overflow, stop, let it catch back up, let it move out, and then keep going. So I'm going to start with my rose. So I'm going to hold it up high, and hopefully you can catch the string in the view of the camera. So yeah, you see how my string's like super, super thin? So like the bubbles that would be coming down kind of get to pop. And see, this is why that fast silicone that I used, by the time I was done pouring, it was already getting hard because this takes like a minute, like a while. And I don't even know if this is necessarily any better than any other way of pouring. It's just what I saw and it's what I've done. Of course, every once in a while, you are still going to have some air bubbles. Yes, like if you can see, it's just kind of like moving along wherever it wants to go. And I'll just kind of do this until I get impatient or until my arm starts hurting too bad. And then I'll kind of like start moving it around to kind of fill in the extra space. So like as you can see on this side right here, it's kind of already reaching the edge. So I'm going to start moving over a little bit. And I used to forget the mold release spray like every single time. Just making conversation right now because my arm hurts. um, but yeah, I remember when I started, I would forget my mold release spray every freaking time, and it sucks. Especially because at that time I didn't do it the way that I'm doing it now. I did it another way. So now I'm gonna switch over to the Peep just to kind of let the silicone kind of like fall into place. I'm really okay. I'm honestly, yeah, I'm a little worried because the Peep is like covered in mold release spray. I don't know, the Peep might be a fail. Just a heads up, y'all. That was a lot of mold release spray. I can kind of see how it's already kind of changing the color of the silicone. So I'm gonna let that kind of fall where it wants. Oh gosh, damn it. This is where I always start getting messy. Once my arm starts to hurt, I start getting super messy. So the heart's like pretty good, I feel like. You don't want it to really go over. It looks like I might spill over here. Usually whenever it starts barely going over the white, I don't know if you can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. I don't really want to touch my phone right now. But it starts kind of going over the white. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of over pour. I can see where it's already gonna tip over a little bit. And that's okay, you cut that off with a razor blade in the end. And yeah, I did pour just, I feel like I poured just a little bit too much silicone. And so then what I do is I kind of just tap it just to kind of help any air bubbles get out of there. And let's see, let's zoom in a little bit. Ignore my mess. Now my phone's gonna be all dirty. Can I even switch while I'm on video already? I don't know, I don't really do this a lot. So you can kind of, maybe you can hopefully see like there's like little bubbles on the surface that are like popping. If not, oof, that was super loud, sorry. I tried. So make sure my ring light doesn't tip over, because it's notorious for that. So I'm needing a little more silicone up here in the ears on the Peep. I just kind of like twist it whenever I'm done or whenever I want to stop, like a kind of like a controlled stop. Oh man, por pendeja. Yeah, so maybe just a little bit more here on the ears. Make sure that you're doing this on a level surface as well. And yeah, that's enough. I'm gonna stop. Okay, so I'm gonna stop for now. This is pretty much what it should look like, or what it's going to look like. Yeah. Remember to do the little taps. Just kind of tap it around, tap it on the sides, tap it down, just to help it kind of pop those air bubbles. At least this is what I saw when I was doing research. I don't know if this helps. I'm just showing you guys exactly what I do. I used to like kind of watch it for the first like 20 minutes, and I would like pop, like if you see right there, there's an air bubble that's about to come up, and I would kind of pop them with like a needle just to make sure they popped. But I don't really do that anymore, just because I have a little bit less patience. So I'm done with this for now. I'm gonna pause the video. You can see I over-poured a little bit right there. It's kind of spilling out a little bit. It happens. It's not gonna be perfect every time. Yeah. Ow.